Kia ora kia koutou o te rā kia tātou katoa, I roto I ngā tini āhua tangotua. Nau mai, hara mai, and welcome to the inaugural Rangatahi Kei Runga Podcast. Ko Dawson Feagai-Marama whengai tuku ingoa, hiurea hau no te pito o te ao ko rotorua te rā. And my co-host with me, I'll throw it over to him to introduce himself. Tēnā koe, bro.
Thank you, Brother Dawson, for, yes, our inaugural podcast. Ko Jordaan Tuitama tōku ingoa. I come from the thriving metropolis of Kowera, the Eastern Bay of Plenty, so it's cool to be here. Just for a mihi to our brother Kane Milne here. We're in the Innovation Hub here at the Māngere campus. If any of you out there want to check that out, come and see the brother here. He'll hook you up with anything to do with digital technology, anything that you need. This is the man you need to see. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, brother. Very good. Very excited. Very excited. It's been a long time coming, bro.
I'm actually quite nervous. This is something very, very recently been new to me.
Yeah.
And every time you get in front of a camera or you know you're going to be presenting out to people, it's a little bit shy.
Yeah.
So for those of you people out there, this is the Rangatahi Kei Runga Podcast. I guess the basic crux of this podcast and what we're trying to do here is to share ideas, knowledge and understanding and experiences around rangatahi and what that might look like. So whether you're a tauira, whether you're a rangatahi yourself, a youth worker, you're in the education space, if you're someone from the community, people from the industries who are thinking about employing young people, people who want to get involved with young people, this is kind of a podcast that we thought would get together and I guess create this platform, eh, brother?
Yeah, bro. Definitely. I guess for us, working with rangatahi at Wānanga, Aotearoa, it's become a passion. And I guess we just want to reach out to, it takes a village to raise tamariki. And, we want to reach out to all the villages to help us raise our future generations.
Oh, prophetic. Man, how should we roll this out? This is our first inaugural podcast, whānau, so we're kind of happy to kind of go with the flow. If you're happy to come along with us on this journey, it's always a learning journey here to Wānanga Aotearoa, and this is definitely a learning curve for us. So I guess we could kick off with a question.
Yeah, we'll start with some questions.
I guess a really key thing for me and our whānau out there, and when you're working with rangatahi, whanaungatanga is really key in kind of knowing who we are. We've shared where we come from, but I guess a cool starting point may be how did we get into the youth space? How did we start working with rangatahi, and when did we decide that this was something that we wanted to do? I'll start off with you, brother.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, so I've been working for rangatahi for over 10 years. I actually fell into the job accidentally. I was studying and I was a broke student, and my mate said, bro, we need some youth support workers, you should apply. And I said, how do I apply? And he said, give me your phone number. So I gave him my phone number, bro, and I ended up starting off as a support worker with rangatahi that weren't in school. And then after that, I got some extra contracts to work with rangatahi in school. And so I did that for a couple of years as a part-time job while I was studying. And then Wānanga Aotearoa, there's an opportunity that came up. And they were just looking for a casual kaiako to work with rangatahi because, back when I was at 2013, they had that Youth Guarantee initiative. And so I applied for the casual and I started working just as a relief kaiako, bro, and then just evolved from there, bro, into working in that space for 6 years, working with our rangatahi. But I guess for me, it's just what changed for me, what inspired me was working with kids who had similar upbringings to myself. Nice. Kids that didn't have a father around, so they didn't have like that male figure around in their house every day. Kids that came from broken families, kids that, but I grew up thinking breakfast was a myth. We never had breakfast because my mum was working 2 jobs, and so, just hearing that through other rangatahi sort of was like, this is someone I want to work with. I want to try to help these kids. There's a brighter side to the fence. So yeah, bro, 10 years later, still trying to work with rangatahi.
Yeah.
What about yourself, brother?
I've been quite fortunate. My parents worked, in the community and social sector for quite some time. My old man was a youth worker. He worked across South Auckland, predominantly in like Pukekohe area. So I was kind of dragged along to all the after-school programs, youth leadership programs. He's a former professional basketball player, so I used to go along to all of the basketball trainings. He used to coach like schools across South Auckland. Like Wesley College, huge memories for me, being inside that gym and seeing these, 16, 17-year-olds that look like 25-year-old men with full paho beards, and I used to look up to them thinking, oh my gosh, you are massive.
Yeah.
And so all of those experiences that I gained from my old man and my mum, it kind of just fell into place where I kind of followed suit.
Yeah.
And rangatahi has always been a passion of mine for a long time, and it is exactly the same as you, brother. I saw myself.
Yeah.
I saw myself. I knew the experiences and the barriers that they were going through because I had been there, and I thought, you know what, I've got something to give, something to share.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, nice.
Serving others. It's a cool thing you said. You started off as a casual youth worker, but there's no such thing as a casual casual youth worker. There's no such thing. It's full-time, 24/7. So, I mean, I was quite fortunate, and it's cool. You talked about, you being in this game for a while now, and both of us actually, how do you put it? We cut our teeth into Wānanga Aotearoa, and we had this opportunity. And I think the cool thing about the Wānanga is the platform that it gives people like us.
Yeah, bro.
I mean, the visionaries that have been a part of this organisation, those 35 years ago, they got this off the ground.
Yeah.
And instilled a vision, bro.
Yeah, bro.
We still truly believe into this day, and something that's so important moving into the future as well. I don't think it would ever change.
Yeah.
And part of the podcast, part of bringing this up, creating this platform is to really bring those messages through.
Yeah.
Highlight those things for us and share those success stories as well, because we got a lot of them.
Yeah, we got a lot of them, definitely.
Probably a cool segue into the next question too, with the inception of the Wānanga and how it started with Rangatahi. And one of the kind of our mission, it's our mission statement, eh? Whānau transformation through education.
Yeah.
Bro, that's such a powerful phrase. What does that look like for you, brother?
I guess for me, brother, it's just when you work with Rangatahi, for me, I look at the big picture. It's not really me trying to just impact their lives. I'm trying to sort of shift the trajectory to impact their children's lives and their mokopuna's life. And so if I'm able to sort of shift the angle that their road's going down, for me, that's what whānau transformation is. And sometimes people just need an opportunity. And through the platform of Te Wānanga Aotearoa, I was in a position to provide people with the opportunity to sort of shift the trajectory so that their kids and their mokopuna will benefit from their change. And so for me, bro, that's what whānau transformation means for me. It's not actually just limited to that person. It's limited to their line that they're going to leave in their legacy. So, yeah, bro. What about yourself?
Man, very similar to you. I see, we look across the youth sector and we see a lot of the problems, right? We see a lot of the issues, and these are generational problems. We talk about colonization and the effects of that, the intergenerational trauma, whether it's the loss of language and culture, whether it's these adopted behaviors that we now have, where it comes to addictions or health problems or whatever that might be. Those intergenerational problems require intergenerational solutions. And that's something that you just highlighted for me, is that it's not just about the person we see in front of us, but when we see a young person that we're working with, you brought it up, we see their children and we see their mokopuna.
Yeah, bro.
So this is like and education is one of those tools.
Yeah.
One of many tools that you could use to change that. And one of the questions I put on Facebook before we came and hit this kōrero, I said, going to have a intense kōrero for our inaugural podcast with Mauri Ora Dawson. Yeah. And one of the questions that was posed was, how do you change cycles of dysfunction? And this is it. Yeah. Like education is one of those ways that we can say. Because if you think about whakapapa too, and I always think about behavioural whakapapa. So if there's, how it goes. If, alcohol was prevalent in this generation, it's usually going to carry on. But if we can make that change and that cycle.
Yeah.
That could be that one person. The next generation is going to be, in a better position.
Yeah.
And that happened for me in my whānau when my nana, my kuia, engaged in kohanga reo. That changed things for our whānau.
Yeah.
Kohanga reo, it was like a statement saying, you know what, we're going to take ownership of our culture.
Yeah.
And my nan, bless her soul, did her best with what she had. But those sorts of things were in our whānau. But when she made that commitment to language and to her mokos, I'm grateful for that. And that's that educational change, kohanga reo even,
Yeah.
Back to the, whoa, I just blabbed on, didn't I?
That's beautiful, bro. That's beautiful. Yeah, bro. It's bigger than just the tauira that walk through our doors. It's a lot bigger than that. And I think if we want to see any sort of change with rangatahi, we need to start looking at them through the big picture rather than just
for real.
the next 2-3 years of their lives.
And that's something that I see in a lot of approaches when it comes to youth and rangatahi, and you may or may not agree with this, but some of the stuff that we do is very short-term focused.
Yeah, bro.
We talk about generational change, but a lot of things that we're currently putting in place as a society is very short-term. When you think about programs themselves, they're for a year.
Yeah.
But what happens after that?
Yeah.
What's the exit game? What's the end game? And if we can start thinking, it's hard. It's not easy. I know we're in a different world. This world we live in is, you got to put food on the table to survive, and you do that through getting mahi.
Yeah.
But I might be digressing here, but that it's interesting.
Yeah, bro. I think the other thing too is when you dive into some of the initiatives that are currently out there and they're only short term. Our good friend Dr. Curtis Bristow told me one thing that stuck with me, and he said that the Western version of time is different to Te Ao Māori, and he said that Wānanga does not mean seconds, minutes, hours or days. Wānanga means a space for something to occur. And so when back in the days when our ancestors used to wānanga, the space to occur would depend on how long it took for that learning or that thing to happen. So if they were harvesting, they would have a wānanga space for harvesting, and how long that lasted would depend on how long it took to get the job done. And the same goes back to the same with weaponry. So if you're on Poutahi, if a tamariki was on Poutahi, which is the first for the taiha, first level of taiha, they would stay on there until they had mastered the skill, and they would have moved to Poudou. So they might be, if they were really advanced to pick up quick, they were on there for 2 weeks. But if it took them longer to master the skill, then they would stay on there for however long. And if you think about any of the frameworks that are currently coming out, with some of the initiatives that NCA push out, 80 credits in 30 weeks. So that's not really mastery of the skill. It's mastery of a different model that doesn't relate to what's best for the tauira.
Man, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I love that thinking.
So man, that's what when he told me about that, I was like, So we think about having the wānanga, a space for learning to occur, and you think about some of the issues that I've had in my classroom, like of people not being able to pick up the skill in the 2 weeks that I've given them. That makes sense because they didn't have the time or the space needed for them to learn and master that skill, or that concept. And so when he told me that, I was like, man, that blew my mind. I was like, and it makes sense to me, And so I think any sort of solution working with rangatahi, we need to try something different that works for our people. We can't keep going back to the same models that keep failing us.
How you frame that around education or acquiring a skill. We do put those time constraints on them. You've got 36 weeks to complete this course. And I think about a lady in Te Tairāwhiti recently that told me, if you think about māramataka too, there are times to learn. And then there are times to muck around. And sometimes rangatahi don't feel like learning, then they won't learn.
Bro.
our good friend Dr. Curtis Bristow, he's very good at leaving gems like that, and you start pondering for weeks. So
Yeah.
possibly our next guest, Dr. Curtis Bristow, if you're watching it.
Hopefully.
Man, that's really interesting. I like that. You know, time and you know, young people. I think that's probably one of the advantages they have when you are a young person.
Yeah.
You do have that time.
Yeah.
You've got that time to decide what it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
Before, you know, eventually when you get to a certain age, you know, you got to put your big boy pants on and go out into the big bad world.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, our young people aren't prepared when it is that time, and they don't have those skills, and they haven't had that time or even the support,
Yeah.
the inputs to get those things rolling for them.
Yeah.
Bro, that's pretty cool. I guess one of the other key questions that I've had for you, and I was looking forward to asking you, because I really put a lot of emphasis and energy into the importance of role models for young people.
Yeah.
In the community that I live in Kawerau, you know, I see a lot of young men in particular that don't have those positive role models. And from what I've found in my experiences, there's usually far and few between that look like them.
Yeah.
And what's your thoughts on the importance of role models, and who did you look up to, and who were some key people that played an important role for you, bro?
Bro, when I was younger, at high school, you know, I was like any other Maori Pacific Islander growing up in West Auckland, just want to be a sports star. And so I used to always look to sportsmen for inspiration and as role models. But there was this critical time in the classroom where I could have had where if I had a Pacific Islander or a Maori role model to look up to, then maybe my educational experience might have been different.
Yeah.
And I was in a maths class, bro, and
Did you get
just compulsory. Compulsory. It was a compulsory maths class. And I was telling the teacher, you know, why do we need to learn Pythagoras theories? It's dumb.
Yeah.
You know, and then he goes to me, oh, well, you're just going to end up on the dole like the rest of your people.
Wow.
You know, this is and so.
Name and shame. What school was that?
But you know, when you think about that concept, it would have been, and then I had two options. You know, I could have lashed out, which is probably what he wanted, or I laughed it off. And I laughed it off, and I was telling, I went and told my teacher, and her reply was, oh, he probably didn't mean it like that. Just shrug it off.
Yeah.
But you know, but how many? I'm guessing I wasn't the first person that he said that to.
Yeah.
And so like it would have been nice at that moment of time to have a Pacific Islander or Maori inspiration that was an education to look up to at that time, because it might have changed my experience of maths, you know.
Yeah.
But then in saying that, as I've gotten older, bro, I've realised that the most inspirational people are the people around me, my immediate family. And so I always look up to my nan.
Good old Nan.
Good old Nan, bro, the backbone of our whānau. Bro, my nan's she's a product of legislative acts that have impaired Māori culture. You know,
Preach, brother.
you know, so my nan's parents could kōrero Māori.
Yep.
2 generations later, Māori wiped out in our immediate whānau.
Same as
wiped
me,
out
bro.
2 generations later, just 2. Because they didn't see the value in tikanga Māori.
Yeah.
So they never passed it on to their kids, because back in the day she used to get cane. But at 55, bro, she went back to kura. Because she left school at 14, 55, went back to kura to do level 1 Reo Māori.
Yeah.
Bro, she graduated with a bachelor's degree at 67, bro.
Woo.
You know, so that's when I look back at that. For me, that's inspirational.
Definitely.
And then I've had good role models in my mum, my mother, another one. Worked 2 jobs, you know, solo mum, worked 2 jobs to ensure that we weren't rich growing up, but she made us feel rich. Like she never let us go out. She budgeted, she worked hard.
Yeah.
And she remarried to my stepfather, who's my dad, who I call my dad. You know, just a good man. Sort of bought me my first car, helped me borrow my first house. You know, just some good role models. And then my parents, my mum's siblings, and my biological dad's siblings have all been good role models for me. And so, you know, when I was younger, you know, you look to people that they actually want to be. Like I was looking at sports stars, but I just realized that as I've gotten older and had kids and become a father myself, that the most inspiration people to me have been my father. And so Bruce, what about yourself, man? What about yourself? Who's someone that inspires you? Or
Man, that's always a hard act to follow, man.
All right.
You talked about a key thing, which was family. Both my parents had awesome siblings that they didn't treat me any different to their own kids. Like I had extra mum and dads. I never saw them as like uncles and aunties. They were just my other mum, my other dad. You know, in all aspects of parenting, including discipline.
It's the best one.
I always found, similar to you, like Jonah Longu. Like I grew up in Pukekohe. And
probably the same size as him,
his legend from Wesley right through to his professional career. Like I got to watch it going to Pukekohe Stadium and like watching him play for Wesley as a primary school kid. He was a guy that, you know, he was a god among men.
Bro.
Like definitely. Jonah. And he was big for me. And I remember the first day I met him, I shook his hand. And I vowed to never wash my hand again. And I told him to. I said to Jonah. I said, I'll never wash my hand. Because he would have been like 21, like young guy at the time. He started laughing. But this would have been at a time too where he probably didn't think anything of himself. Like he was still a humble Jonah, you know, looking at this little kid thinking he's never going to wash his hand again. But Jonah was big for me. But outside of sports people, you know, there wasn't too many, bro. If I'm honest, other than whānau, which you alluded to, there wasn't too many, which I think highlights too, you know, the importance of whānau, the importance of role models within our communities. And I know, because I'm an uncle, I have two sisters and they both have children, and I try and do the ultra cool uncle thing, like I always try and like ring them up and talk to them, act like I know about video games that they play, and I have no clue because I'm still stuck in Street Fighter era. And I try my best there just to engage with them and talk to them about school, how's life going, and because I know how important it is, and you brought that up, and that's what I want for them. I want that for my kids, for my nephews and nieces, and just like my uncles and aunties who didn't see me any different to their children, it's the same for me, you know, for my nieces and nephews. So it's really cool, man. I like your take on that, you know, family being the rock.
Bro.
And your nan, 67?
Bro, 67, man.
Got a bachelor's?
Got it before me. That's but bro, proud moment, like, you know, real proud.
I mean, the fact that she thought that was something of importance and value, even at her age, and she still got it done.
Bro.
Got the mahi done.
It was beautiful to watch, bro. And it's even it was she got a takiura, so she was she graduated bachelor's degree teaching of kura kaupapa Māori. Which is considering her upbringing and having it all wiped out.
The barriers.
The barriers, bro. It's just inspirational for me.
Whānau transformation through education.
Exactly, bro. Exactly.
Man, that's beautiful. But we got to introduce me to your grandma, bro. I want to be man, bro. You know, we've been fortunate, bro, and I see it as opportunity and a positive opportunity working with young people. I see it as something that helps me grow as a person. When you work with young people, there's so much that they teach you, bro. And having children ourselves too, like our kids are great teachers and very honest teachers at that. What are some things that you've taken or learnt, or some knowledge and understanding, or even some life hacks that young people have taught you or you've picked up on?
Probably life hacks. One of the main ones that sticks out is making a microwave cake that my kids called prison cake, and so we made they used to get bag of farm baked cookies, bro, and you squash it all up. And then you put it in a bowl, and you add in some milk, and mix the milk in. And then get some chocolate, bro, and put it in the microwave, and it turns into a cake, bro. Actually, like a cake, straight up. And I was blown away. And then, you know, there's one of my tauira and whangarei, They used to show me how to make turn noodles into pasta. And so they used to cook the noodles, bro, the migarine noodles, bro, put all the flavouring in, drain the water out, put the sachet and the soya sauce in, and add mayo to it, bro, and turn it.
Yeah.
And then it goes creamy, bro. And bro, that's really good. I mean, blowing away some of the life hacks that I've got. But in terms of learning experiences, bro, bro, I eat those noodles, bro. I can't have it without mayo anymore. Terrible. Go-to every Sunday. Creamy noodles, bro. Creamy noodles. But I suppose in terms of like, with Rangatahi, bro, like a lot of my growth personally and professionally have come from working with them. And I think just, I suppose the one key thing is that you have to be like adaptable. You have to be able to change your circumstances. And if you approach Rangatahi with a rigid framework, you'd find you get nowhere. And so you have to, I learned with Rangatahi that, the key to their heart is through their tummy, so feeding them, but also that like if you're willing to feed them, then they're willing to start listening, and if you're puno in your approach, then you start getting places with them, But it's like that thing that Curtis was saying, it's wānanga, it takes a space to earn their trust. You can't force it, you can't have it put down to a week, and it has to be continuous. And so bro, just those little things. How about yourself, bro? Like being a very experienced man, king of kawerau.
I think there are always humbling experiences for me, and especially when they open up to you and share some of their life stories, you're constantly reminded of sometimes how privileged I actually am, and some of the things that I have in life, and some of the resources that I'm able to tap into that they don't usually have. And so there's, each young person is always different story, but it's always humbling, and to hear about those things and learn from them. One thing that sticks out for me, like two young brothers of who I used to teach, and they saw how often I would change my clothes, and they said to me, "We're not allowed to do that." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Oh, there's too much washing at our house. We'll get in trouble if we keep changing clothes." And I was just like, "Oh wow, like here I am, one set of clothes for work, another set for the gym, then a new set after the workout." But it highlighted to me like, okay. Because they're thinking about water wastage. They're thinking about power.
Having to pay for the power.
They're thinking about Nan's time. Because Nan does the washing. And they don't want to, waste her time washing all of these clothes. And so those humbling experiences for me have always opened up my eyes and just reminded me of what's really important. And just hearing their stories, it's always cool for me.
That humbling experience, it's sometimes those moments, it takes time to digest. I remember buying some of my tauira kai one day, and two of my students in whangare, they were hoeing into the pizza really fast, and I was like, slow down, bro, it's not going to run away. And then they said to me, I haven't eaten for a couple of days, bro, and homemade, fair enough, bro. And I sort of felt a bit mama about saying slow down, because for some Rangatahi, that's the reality. Like, they don't know when their next meal's coming from. So, bro, definitely can feel about that humbling experience.
Yeah, for sure, man. And when you start, slow down, it's not going anywhere. For us. We can buy more. Yeah. But for them, this is their first kai in a few days. Bro. Man, that's humbling. That's real humbling. I hope you felt bad. No. Bro,
I did, bro. I sat in my car afterwards and I was like, bro, you guys want a drink? You want to dessert? But I felt stinky. Like, just like I said, like, went back to the privileges, like, I could buy food whenever I want. But sort of forgot that for them, it's not the same. Bro, I felt real bad.
Oh, man. I could only imagine, like, being in those environments and working with young people like that. I'm thinking about it now, I'm visualizing it, I'm like, wow. I could see that. And now I'm thinking it back to my own students. How many of them didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
Or were experiencing those things.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And bro, I'm glad they actually like hit me up about it. So, bro, I haven't eaten a couple of days, and they just just keep eating. I was like, bro, fair enough. Like, eat up, bro. Eat up.
You highlighted something for me too, and we talk about education as a tool, right? To start making changes and breaking those cycles and intergenerational success and solutions.
Yeah.
But before young people, rangatahi, can even engage in education, they've got some other things that need addressing, right?
Yeah.
And one of them is nutrition.
Yeah.
And you talk about what Curtis talked about, wānanga and that time frame of learning. It's like we've experienced this in the youth guarantee spaces, that before we can even engage in literacy or numeracy or finishing assessments, we gotta feed them first.
Yeah.
To get that brain power going.
Yeah.
To lift the spirit as well.
Yeah, bro.
We've got to address some of the issues going on at home first and help them unpack those before we can even get into learning.
Yeah.
What are some key things for other whānau out there who are working in education or with rangatahi as well, that they can take when we're thinking about engaging with those types of young people?
I think personally, just from my personal experience, bro, I think with rangatahi you have to be patient. If you think about any of the rangatahi that have come through the Youth Guarantee Program, they've usually haven't been successful at high school. And so for me, them showing up is a huge win for myself. Yeah. That's for me, them showing up, even if they don't get much mahi done, it's a huge win for me because they see that there's value showing up. And that might be the social side.
Real.
But yeah, it's just patience, bro. Just if you're patient with people, then you get better results from the rangatahi. Because if they don't do things, there's always reasons why. And usually some of those reasons might be something that I can't control. Working with them, it might be home issues, it might be even getting to course. And so I think the number one thing for me is patience, and then just be consistent. So be patient to let them come in your own time, but also be consistent with your support. Don't just reach out to them if they haven't come up, they haven't been in contact with you and be like, hey, where are you? Hey brother, everything all right? Hey sis, how you been? How's home life? Just be consistent with your approach, and then off that build other things and achieve other outcomes.
That's so true too, because you talk about, don't just think that they haven't turned up to your class. Yeah. Think about the many reasons why they haven't turned up to class. And what that might look like. And it's got nothing to do with you personally.
Don't take it personally.
I must have did a bad job. No, not really. It's just that day something happened. They're just not feeling it.
Bro.
And be patient. Be understanding. I too kind of adopt a similar approach. When a young person walks in to your whare, to your workplace, wherever it is, I never look at them in a superficial way. I don't see the rugged, staunch. I don't see that. I see the pain behind it. I see the struggle that you're going through. I see the generations of barriers that you've faced. And that's what you just highlighted, man. And be patient with those things. Don't expect them to complete your maths test. Or be there prepared and ready and have done their homework and study.
Bro.
It's not going to happen.
Not at all, especially if there's issues at home. I wasn't always like, my view when I first started teaching was, very westernized way. Like if I say class starts at 9:30, be here at 9:30. But I just wasn't getting much success, and so I changed my approach. And if they came in, just be like, "So brother, well, we're doing this now." And sit down and have a chat to them. How's your morning been? Want to go grab a kai first? So just sort of looked at myself and what I can do to be better for them, rather than expecting the tauira to adjust their skills to meet my outcomes. But it takes time, like you have to develop that sort of over time and through experience. And if you had to ask me when I first started, I was like, these fellas, they just need to learn. But really, we don't know what's going on outside of, from 3 o'clock when they finish till 9:30 the next morning is a whole lot of time for other things to have an influence.
And a lot can happen in that time.
Bro, harder.
A lot can happen. You highlighted something for me just then about your expectations.
Yeah.
And one thing I've caught myself doing a lot recently is, bro, I'm doing the whole back in my day. When I was your age, I've been doing that a lot lately, especially with my own son. And I'm like, oh my God, listen to yourself. Like, stop doing that.
Yeah.
And I hear that a lot, bro, being echoed in a lot of circles. You know, these young people. What are they doing now? When we were, you know, back in our day. And I'm like, you know, and you talked about being adaptable. Adaptability, and I feel change with the times, man. And you talked about patience, which is key. So I'm just kind of highlighting back to those key points that you brought up, bro, and those are really important, and especially for those people out there who might even be starting to engage with rangatahi in the rangatahi space, but also for practitioners who have been in this game for a while and kind of needing that, you know, little reminder, like, bro, that's right. You know, I remember that. Man, this has been cool. Like, I hope people aren't getting bored of just talking. I know you got some questions for me, brother.
Yeah, bro. So just got some quick fire questions for you, brother. I've never been to Kawerau, so I've got some questions shaped around
You're missing out, bro. You're missing out.
I think I've driven through it. Haven't stopped there. But so I got five quick fire questions with a bonus question. So the first one is, where's your go-to spot to have a kai in Kawerau? What's the one spot every time you can have takeaways or want to buy out? Where's the one spot that you take your family to? And you can always guarantee it's going to be top of the line.
I got one. We have the best Indian restaurant in New Zealand.
Ooh, I don't know.
And Mauso down there, who holds it down. My go-to order too is the sagwala, which is a coconut spinach curry.
Oh, wow.
And my naan bread isn't just any kind of naan bread, brother. It's a stuffed culture with mashed peas and potatoes in the naan.
Stop it.
Yeah, if I'm feeling privileged, I get myself a mango lassi.
You just don't have garlic cheese naans up there.
Nah, I'm a bit more cultured.
Nice.
But that's our go-to. Shout out to Monsoon Indian Restaurant, Kawerau.
Monsoon. Okay, I'm going to have to check that one out. Love some Indian curry. Okay, the next one, bro, is if you're on cooking duties and people come to your house for dinner, what is your signature meal? What is the meal that people say, Jordaan makes the best? What is it?
Okay, so I'm known for my eggs.
Eggs?
Which isn't a very hard recipe. But
fried, poached,
man,
burnt.
What do you want? What do you want? I'm known for my eggs, but my kids, when I have my nieces and nephews around, my go-to is koko alesa.
Oi,
that's my go-to, man.
Bro, you have a lot of challenges out there, bro. It's a tough one. How do you rate your one? Is the best?
I do rate it, but I also won't share my secrets.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so outside of the bench press, what are some other hobbies you like to get involved in?
Obviously basketball. My dad was a former Tall Black. And so basketball was just, I was surrounded by it. All those friends, all my uncles, they were all basketball players, and I love basketball, man. I've got Jordans on right now.
Nice.
That's how committed I am to this couple.
So LeBron fan?
I like LeBron, but are you asking me a GOAT question?
No, not a GOAT question.
Okay.
Just saying.
Yeah, I do like LeBron. More so off court.
Yeah.
I just love who he is as a person and the role model that he is for a lot of young Black Americans out there.
Yeah.
And not just Black Americans, around the world, like kids around the world.
Yeah.
I think he's a cool dude, man.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, love LeBron, bro. GOAT. Okay, and then so when you leave the humble villages of Kawerau, where's your first spot you like to eat outside of Kawerau? Like it could be in Ngarawahi, it could be in Hamilton. Where's your go-to spot? Can't be KFC, something else.
Man, I always go to Le Sunrise.
Le Sunrise? Where's that one?
Le Sunrise.
Le Sunrise.
I always go to Aotearoa, man. Just give me some keke poa. Otherwise, bro, her dad's in Tap North.
Oh yeah, that's good.
And funny fact,
West is
I
best.
actually, my family were family friends of Charlie, her dad.
Oh, hey.
He used to own her dad's.
Oh, bro.
You know, rest their souls, my grandparents have passed away, but, you know, so much so that he came to their funeral, bro. Like, he came and paid his respects. I mean, we kept his family in business for years now. But,
Her dad's is good, bro.
her dad's, bro.
Good stuff.
I used to get the tap burger with the sea dog.
And $10 chips.
Oh, yeah. Her dad's and Le Sunrise Bakery, bro.
Oh, yeah, you can't go wrong for the sunrise, bro. Hey, and final one before the bonus question. What's your favourite song at the moment?
Ooh, at the moment, favorite song. It changes. I mean, it goes with the times. But I've been listening to who have I? Is it Benny? Benny, the New Zealand girl, young singer Benny. I kind of listen to what my kids listen to. But yeah, Benny. You don't even know what I'm talking about.
No, sorry, brother, sorry. Benny. Okay, we'll leave that one there. Okay, and then the bonus question, bro, is what is your max bench press, deadlift, and squat total?
Oh, this guy.
So bench,
Do you want like comp PBs or
just your
jump
PB.
Just
PB.
just 100, bro. 100 bench.
Oh, that's not what Facebook
squat
says.
and 180 dead.
I want some real figures.
You know that in the powerlifting world, bro, we don't share our secrets. What you see on social media isn't the truth.
Oh, so
kinda-
the 180 for reps was not a real 180.
We don't test very often.
Yeah.
And we usually set PBs at competitions.
Yeah.
But even then, you're thinking long term
Yeah.
in terms of your training program. So even at comps, I don't usually do full capacity. So I don't know, to be honest. Coming off a knee injury too, I had surgery. So my squat and dead wouldn't be of any significance.
Yeah.
Kohanga reo weights, to be honest. So I've been focusing on my bench press while I've rehabilitating.
Nice.
What a hospital pass guy. Fuck.
Oh, you know, back in my day, bench press meant everything until you realise bench press is not relatable to any sport. You can't use bench press in basketball.
Sumo wrestling.
It doesn't help in league because you get tired.
I mean, it could help you get up off the ground, maybe.
Yeah, maybe for the first 10 minutes, but yeah. No, that's all my questions, brother. But thank you for today. Thank you for your time, bro.
Man, that was cool. Hopefully other people thought it was.
Yeah, we'll be back. I think over the next few months we'll try and build some kaupapa that the people want to hear about.
Cool, man.
And put it out to Rangatahi's subject matter experts out there. If there's anything that they are struggling with, we might be able to have a kōrero about them, bring them on. But bro, thank you for your time, bro. Time's the most valuable currency we have, bro. Yeah. Spend it every day, never get it back. So appreciate it, brother.
Too much also.
We out.
That sounds fun, eh? Peace.
I'm back with the voices. Hey, with the boys.